Well, hello, driver's ed students, and welcome to today's lecture. Let me get on the right screen there. And today we are going to be covering two chapters of the Rules of the Road book, the last two chapters of the Rules of the Road book, 12 and 13. So, these chapters aren't very long, but there's some really important information in there, important information that's important to you as a driver, things that are required to be on your car and things that are required for you to do as an owner of a vehicle. So let's go ahead and get into chapter 12 to start with. Chapter 12 is equipment for safe driving. What are the things that are required and what are the things that are not allowed? So let's talk about a few of these. Okay, required equipment. You can see here we've got 13 things listed on the required equipment. You have to have brakes on your car. Duh, right? I mean, of course, but yes, if you have any kind of a brake failure, you are not allowed to drive that car. I think we talked about that just a little bit in the last lecture. But there are actually two braking systems that you have to have, and both braking systems have to be functional. Your regular brakes, like literally your car brakes, when you press on the brake pedal, it stops the car. Those have to be functioning. And your emergency / parking brake, that's the same thing. Your emergency brake and parking brake are the same thing. It has to be functioning. It is not okay to drive around with a broken emergency brake. Can't do it. So brakes you have to have. Headlights. So you've got to have low beam and high beam headlights that have to be functioning. If a bulb burns out or whatever, you've got to get it replaced. That has to be done. Tail lights. Okay, so these are the lights on the back of your car that come on whenever your headlights are on. It's the red lights at the back of the car, and the brake lights are associated with that too. You have to have functioning tail lights and brake lights as a part of that. Your turn signals, all 4 turn signals have to be functioning. And now some cars have even more than 4 because you got the ones in the mirrors as well. So turn signals, those have to be functioning. If you ever notice that your turn signal indicator inside the car, you flip the turn signal on and you got a little light inside the car that flashes. If you ever notice that that's flashing like twice as fast as it normally does, that is a little warning that's built into most cars to tell you that you have a turn signal that's not functioning, that's not working on the outside of the car. So go check it out. Your license plate light. A lot of people don't even know that they have these, but on the back of the car, not the front of the car generally, or ever, I don't think I've ever seen this, but on the back of the car, you're required to have at least one white light that illuminates your license plate so that the police officers can read your license plate, even if their headlights aren't hitting it. That's required. Most cars have 2 back there, but you're required to have at least one. Your parking lights, these are the amber lights or yellow lights that are on your car. You oftentimes don't use these, but if you're pulled over and you are parked on a roadway, on the side of a roadway, you have to have these on. If you're on the side of a roadway where traffic is moving fast, especially, you should have your flashers on, your hazard lights. But your parking lights are required. And with those parking lights, the hazard lights are associated with that because they will flash. When you turn your hazard lights on, that's actually your parking lights is what it is, and they flash to alert people of the hazard. Safety belts. Safety belts are required for all seats in the car. You have to have mirrors. Now, I just read this law, and it's actually a little different than I remember it being. So I don't know if they changed it a while back or not. But you are in Illinois, you are required to have at least one mirror that'll let you see behind the car. So if you have stuff in your vehicle blocking your view out the back window, you have to have at least one side mirror. Most cars have 2 side mirrors and 1 mirror inside the car. But you are required to have at least one mirror that allows you to see behind the vehicle. Windows. All right. Yeah, your car has windows, right? You can't drive your car around without a front windshield. Can't do it. You got to have a front windshield. Windows have to be made of special safety glass. You're not allowed to just put regular glass up on the side of your car instead of an actual automotive window. So just in case you were tempted to do that, now you know. You actually legally have to have wipers, and your wipers have to work. They have to be able to clear rain, snow, whatever off of your windshield. You've got to have a horn. It's got to be able to be heard from, I think the number is 200 feet away. It can be whatever kind of horn you want. You know, you can put a semi horn in your car. You can put those old old time sounding horns, or they make horns that have all sorts of different sounds. You hit different buttons in your car and it'll make a different sound. But you're required to have a horn. Your exhaust. Okay, you have to have a muffler on your exhaust. And actually, in Illinois, the law says that you are not allowed to make changes to your exhaust system that make it louder. Now, I know people do this all the time, okay, and you hear them driving around, they've got a loud exhaust, okay? The law says you're not allowed to do that. So if you have a vehicle that has a loud exhaust, you can get pulled over and you can get ticketed for it, all right? I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you what could happen if you do this. And your vehicle has to have bumpers, front and rear bumpers, and you're not allowed to put more than a 3-inch lift kit on your vehicle. That's the max. There again, I see people driving around frequently that have put higher lift kits than that on their vehicles. What about some equipment that is restricted, or things that are restricted in reference to equipment? Well, if you are hauling something in your vehicle, okay, the most common case of this would be in the back of a pickup, but it doesn't have to be. It can be anything. Okay, if you have anything that is projecting or extending out from your vehicle for a distance greater than 4 feet, then you have to have a red flag on it. You have to have a red flag on it. And if it's at night, you have to have a red light on it. I've never seen anyone doing that, but you have to do that if you are hauling this thing at night. If you want a spotlight on your car, you cannot have more than one. One is the maximum number. Okay. You're not allowed to have any flashing or moving lights. Okay. So this is basically, they don't want you to have anything in your car that could be confused with like police lights or emergency lights or a tow truck light or anything like that. So nothing where the light spins or flashes. You're not allowed to have that. You're not allowed to have any red lights on the front of your vehicle for multiple reasons. One is that it could be confused for a police vehicle. Two is that it could confuse people and think that they're looking at the back of a vehicle rather than the front, okay? Running board lights, you're only allowed to have one per side. Excuse me. Here's another one that's really big. No video screen or cell phone video that is visible to the driver. It's illegal to have, some kind of movie or YouTube video or something like that playing where the driver can see it. That's illegal. All right. And then no radar jammers. You're not allowed to have any devices that are designed to jam police radar. So that's required equipment and restricted equipment. One thing on the required equipment that you don't see is airbags. They're not required. They're sure nice if you have them and they can help save your life, but they're not a required piece of equipment. So just something to know. Okay, what about owning a vehicle? Well, there are some things that you need to know as a vehicle owner. At some point in your life, you're going to have the pleasure or pain of purchasing a vehicle. Depends on if you can pay for it outright or if you're taking out a loan, right? But you're going to have the pleasure of purchasing a vehicle. What you need to know is that there's a fair amount of paperwork that has to be done when you purchase a vehicle. Now, if you purchase that vehicle from a dealership, whether it's a used car dealership or a new car dealership, a small used car dealership or a big used car dealership, all dealerships are required to do this paperwork for you. So they will fill it out for you. They will send it in and take care of this. Okay. So purchasing of a vehicle from a dealership, this stuff will get taken care of. If you purchase a vehicle out as a private individual, this stuff still has to be done, and it's your responsibility to do it. It's not that difficult. I've done this multiple times where I've purchased a vehicle from an individual, not from a dealership. It's not. I don't want to scare you away from doing that. Okay. But there is some paperwork that has to be done. You have 20 days to get this completed, to fill out the application, do your certificate of title, all of those kind of things. I will tell you, it doesn't really go along with the Illinois Secretary of State stuff here, but something to make sure that you do. As soon as you purchase a vehicle, before you ever drive that thing off the lot or drive away from that person's house that you buy the vehicle from, call your insurance agent. Call your insurance agent. Do it right then, okay, before you even drive down the road. Because as soon as you sign that paperwork to take ownership of that vehicle, it becomes your responsibility. It's no longer the dealership's responsibility, and their insurance will not cover you. Okay, even if your insurance office is closed, even if it's, after hours or it's on a weekend or whatever, call them and leave a message and say, hey, I just bought this vehicle. Here's what year it is. Here's what the vehicle is. And I want to make sure that I'm covered for insurance. So call them and leave a message, or call them and talk to them. And that way they've got record that you've purchased this vehicle. Okay, so your registration and title. So part of owning a vehicle is that you have to register that vehicle with the state of Illinois, and part of registering the vehicle is that you'll have license plates, okay? And on those license plates is a little sticker that you have to put on annually. Every year, you've got to pay the state of Illinois for the privilege of driving a vehicle on the roads, and they keep raising this fee all the time, and currently it's up to $151. So every year you got to pay $151 to get a little sticker that goes on the back of your car. And the money for that goes to help pay for roads and fix potholes and all that kind of stuff. Okay. So, I mean, it's pretty nice to have all these roads to drive on that we have. It's not real nice when you have to pay the sticker fee, but hey, it's what we got to do, right? To live in a society that provides these kinds of services for us. So yeah, $151 for that. If it's a motorcycle, it's $41. If you lose your sticker, you got to pay another $20 to get another little sticker. When the owner receives the license plate sticker, you also receive a vehicle registration ID card. You have to carry that ID card with you when driving. So here's what I do, okay? And I would highly recommend that you do this too. I take my registration ID card and I take my insurance card, my proof of insurance, my little printout from my insurance company. I take those two things, my registration ID card and my insurance card. I put them together and I clip them to my visor, to the visor that's right above me, the sun visor that you can flip down and block the sun with. I clip them right there, okay? And that way, if I ever get pulled over, I don't have to freak out and go digging around in the glove box and, oh my gosh, where did I put that? Yeah, they're right there, okay? And my kids aren't to driving age yet, but it won't be that many years before they are. And, when they're switching from vehicle to vehicle, whether they're driving, their mom's, my wife's car, or whether they're driving my truck or whatever they get, they know that, hey, no matter what vehicle you're in, that's where the information is. It's right up here on the sun visor. So I would highly recommend that you do that. In Illinois, you have to have both front and rear license plates. You got to have them both. Now, the sticker only goes on the rear plate. It goes on the back. You can have a frame around your license plate. A lot of dealerships put these frames on because it's advertising for their dealership. But if you want to switch it out and put a frame on it that says, like, I love Chihuahuas or whatever your dog is at home, you can do that. That frame cannot cover any information on the license plate, though. License plate covers, these things that go all the way over the entire license plate, those are not allowed in Illinois. Even if they're clear, they are not allowed. If you ever sell a vehicle, the license plates remain with you. Whoever buys the vehicle from you, whether it's a dealership or whether it's an individual, they have to get their own license plates. Personalized plates. Hey, this is one of the most fun things of, oh, I should have been downstairs for this. Hang on. Okay, I ran down to the basement really quick. Don't look at my workbench. It's a total disaster right now. We've been working on projects. But one of the things that I've got on my workbench, you might see, is I've got some license plates hanging up there. And so these are all license plates that belong to the men in my family. The USA 142 that you see up there, it's on the other side. This is all reversed. That was my grandfather's license plate. The JLS 7294, that was my dad, Jerry Lee Smith. The one over here on this corner, that was my little brother's license plate, Captain Fat. He was a heavy-set guy, and he kind of took pride in it. And then way over here at this end, that was my very first license plate. That was a license plate that was on my Camaro in high school. JMP SRV1, Jump Serve 1. I've been a volleyball player for a long time. And so, yeah, having your own personalized license plate's kind of a fun thing. I'm going to go back upstairs. Okay, I'm back upstairs. I'm probably going to be huffing and puffing now. That was 2 flights of stairs to get down to the basement, 2 flights of stairs to get back up here to our upstairs floor. Okay, so personalized plates. One of the cool things that Illinois provides is on their website, cyberdriveillinois.com, there's a link to this website right here, illinoisos.gov, pick a plate. And I'm going to pop out of this lecture real quick and head over here and show you guys. You guys can check on this yourself. But if you go to that website, you can click on, it says pick a license plate type. And you click on this. Now, if you're getting just a regular vehicle, you get the passenger plate. So that's like a car or a minivan, okay? SUV, I'm not real sure. I think you can choose between passenger or B truck. I'm not 100% sure on that. If you're getting a truck, then this is what you would click on. There's different rules for different types of plates. So for a truck plate, it says do not intermix letters and numbers. So you can't do like A1, B2, you can't intermix them. It's got to have numbers first and then the letters second. If you don't want the B truck, then you just click on this other one here. And let's check with passenger car and see what it says about that. Session expired. Well, all right, let's try that again. Passenger car. And so you're wanting to see what kind of license plate, and you're like, let's just go with something like Deuces 2, Let's see what they say about that. Check availability. I bet somebody's already taken that seriously, right? Yeah, they have, but hey, Deuces 9's available. Okay, whatever. So you can just kind of play around with that and have fun and see what you can find and think about what you want to have as your license plate. Get this pulled back up here, and then we'll finish up. We got a few slides left to cover. So that's specialty plates. And you don't have to get specialty plates. You can just get whatever's assigned to you. That's totally fine. Okay, insurance. So car insurance. It is mandatory, all right? Now, there's all sorts of different kinds of insurance. The kind of insurance that's mandatory is called liability. Liability insurance is if you get in a wreck and it's your fault and someone else's property or health is damaged because of it, you have to pay. That's what liability insurance is. So you can also have insurance that protects your own vehicle and your own health. But that's not mandatory. You don't have to have insurance that pays for your own car if you wreck your car. A lot of people do, but you don't have to. All right, so mandatory insurance. These are the minimums. This is the least amount of insurance that you're allowed to have. Okay, the minimum insurance that you're allowed to have is $25,000 injury or death of one person. So if you get in a wreck and someone gets injured or killed, you would have $25,000 of coverage for that instance. The minimum for more than one person is 50,000. So if there's more than one person hurt or killed, then you have 50,000 of coverage. And the minimum for damage of property is $20,000. Okay. That's not enough. I'm just going to flat out say it. It is not enough. If you're carrying the state minimum for insurance, you're playing with fire. I mean, this could go really poorly. Because if you get in a wreck and the damages are greater than that, you're still financially liable for that. Even if you don't have enough insurance to cover all the costs, you're still the one that's liable for it. And they'll sue you and there'll be a judgment against you and you're going to be paying it off the rest of your life. Okay. Let's say that you're driving down the highway, you're driving down the interstate, and you see up ahead of you, you see one of these car hauler semis that we've got right here, right? You see one of these car hauler semis and you're like, whoa, look at that. It's a bunch of Corvettes up on that car hauler. And so you're passing them on the interstate and you're turning and looking, you're like, man, that's so cool. And you're talking to the person next to you and you're not even paying enough attention because you're so excited. And you cut back into the other lane a little too quick. And the semi-truck driver slams on the brakes and cuts over to the shoulder to try to avoid being hit by you. And he loses control of the car hauler and it starts swaying. And next thing you know, it gets sideways and dumps the whole thing over. Okay. And all of these cars get damaged. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I don't know what this guy's doing back here, but let's just say 11 Corvettes that just all got damaged. At an average price of $80,000 times 11 plus the cost of the damage to the semi, you could be on the hook for $1 million worth of damage. $1 million worth of damage. But hey, you've got insurance, right? You're covered. Yeah, you're covered for $20,000. What? That's not enough. Okay, so you're probably thinking, come on, Mr. Smith. I mean, that's pretty crazy, right? Like that's never really going to happen. You're probably right. I mean, the chances of that scenario playing out are pretty low. But let me ask you this. What about the chances of you getting in a wreck that's your fault and someone else sustains some serious injuries and ends up in the hospital for 3 weeks in intensive care? 3 weeks of intensive care, you're looking at about $300,000. Yeah. But you've only got enough insurance to cover $25,000? That's not going to cut it. That's not going to cut it at all. Or what if you just happen to be in a wreck, you caused the wreck, and the car that you wreck with is a brand new Ford Raptor. The thing goes for like $60,000. You just wrecked a $60,000 truck, and it was your fault, and you've only got $20,000 worth of insurance? That's not a good situation either. So yeah, these insurance numbers will keep you legal, but boy, it's awfully risky. So I would personally recommend a lot more than this. We carry, just us personally, I think we carry, it's 250,000, 500,000, and 300,000 or something like that. And honestly, it's not that much more expensive to carry those amounts than it is to carry these amounts. You know, it's not like you take, you know, if you're going to pay $100 a month to carry these, and then you carry the numbers I just told you, you're paying like $1,000 a month. No, it's not that way. It's not that much more expensive to make sure that you are covered. So talk to your insurance agents about it and make sure that you have the coverage that you need. Okay, that is it for today's lecture. All right. A relatively short one, but covering some really important information that you got to know. So I hope you learned something. I hope you got something out of this lecture. But even if you didn't, just like my favorite professor, Dr. Phillips, used to say, it's better than a sharp stick in the eye. We'll see you.